What up, man? This is your boy, Super Mario, man. You are in the yo with your boy. Yes, sir. Just messing with y'all, man. But today what we're going to do is show you guys how I add a little bit of salt, a little bit of seasoning to my beats far as the rhythm is concerned and stuff like that. Sometimes you can get caught up in having a nice drum feel, a nice drum loop and stuff like that. But then you have to know how much and how less you need to, add to a beat, and what you can add to a beat as well. And I'm gonna show you guys how I do it and what do I use in this particular style of beat. Now, this is kind of like more of a, a southern, player made type of beat and stuff like that. And it's not nothing, kind of like, what you're hearing on the masses and everything like that. But it'll give you a simple idea of how to add that little sprinkling of seasoning. And not only that, I'll go ahead and do like a quick beat breakdown of what we got, and go ahead and get out of here, man. So let's go ahead and transition into Reason Studios 13, man, and check out what we got, man. Let's go. All right, man, here we are in Reason right here, man. And, we basically got a simple beat going on or whatever the case may be. I kind of already got it like tracked out the way I want it. And, I want to kind of show you guys on the little sprinkling of the seasoning that I was talking about for the beat. All right, we're gonna go to the rack view here, and you can see kind of like all the instruments that I use on the right hand side, and I keep all of my rhythm instruments such as percussions, the drum loops, and drum sets, and drum machines, and drum beats, everything like that on the left side, and everything else on the right side. All right, now, getting to the seasoning and the salt that I use to add on top of the beats is this particular VST right here. This is one of many that I use, but I kind of wanted to highlight this because this particular VST is a hidden gem. If you know anything about Roland and their rhythm machines and drum machines and stuff like that, this number would ring a bell and everything like that. But it's pretty much kind of like a rhythm composer, but it has a lot of percussion sounds in it. And you can really get some great sounds out of here. They're raw, no effects on them, just giving it to you how you hear it and everything like that. And that's what we're gonna do here. All right, now I took the liberty on adding my bongos, my congos to the beat already, because it takes a little while to find which ones you want, and I didn't want to bore you guys with that. So right now, what I have, and I'm gonna show you guys basically the beat that I have for as like the drums and everything. I'm gonna show you guys this real quick. All right, cool. So that's what we got right there. And I apologize for the humming if you're hearing that. Not exactly sure why it's doing that, but gotta plug my mic in and something better. But anyway, what we have here is we got a drum loop going on right here, and I got that drum loop from this website called Supa. They got some really good sounds and loops on this website, and kind of checking it out here, and so far so good, man. Got some great stuff. So that's where I got this loop from right here in the lime green. Let you hear that once more. So basically it's just a top loop. And top loop means just, it's a drum loop with no kick or any low end. All right. And then what I have here, we're going to go back to the rack window, is the Morphine 8 drum module from DNA Sound Labs. And, I just chose one of the presets from one of the refills that I have from them. And it's just really kind of like a quick kick and snare type of drum situation here, and I'll preview that for you guys. And then when you put it with the loop, All right, cool. Now, when when it's time, like at this point, you got it and it's rocking, and you may have your beat, what I'm saying, rocking and rolling and everything like that. And this is how it would sound. But it's missing that seasoning. It's missing that salt. You know what I'm saying? This is where I will pull in something like this or something like Addictive Drummer, Easy Drummer, and get some percussion sounds out of there or whatnot. Now, as I was explaining before, I use some bongos, congos, and mix that all together. And this is what I got so far. So I hope you heard that, this is a type of situation right there, man. So what I'm gonna do is to kind of solo that so you can actually hear the separation from everything else. All right, and I just want to reiterate that I don't think this VST has any effects in it because it's basically modeled off of the actual, drum machine or whatnot. So these drum machines back in the day, they just didn't have the technology to put DSP processing in these machines. So I don't think. Otherwise, we would have been heard it and stuff like that. But it's just a dry sound, and you can add your own effects later on. But it really kind of adds that. It adds when I hear like bongos and congos in the beat, I call that pepper. It adds the pepper to the beat. You feel what I'm saying? So when you unsolo it and you play it with the beat. All right. Now, when we add the salt, basically the salt is going to be something that's very bright. All right. And what we're going to do is just add another note lane here. And I'm going to go with this sound right here. This is a shaker, or should I say a cabasa? All right. And then that's I think this is a maraca right here. But I'm going to go with the cabasa, excuse me. And then we're going to go with this one. So this is what they call a quijada. I may be saying that wrong, but and then we got this right here. I could try to fit that in there, but it may not work. It may work. I don't know. But we're definitely going to do the cabasa and whatever that is. Again, that is quijada. A quijada. All right, cool. And this is going to be my salt. All right, so we're going to go ahead and record this live right on top of everything else. All right, here we go. All right, cool deal. And what I am going to do is go back here. All right, I forgot to add it on the first part right there. And we're going to trim that up. Go in here, delete that out of there. All right, now when you're doing this, adding percussion in there, the whole goal is not to quantize. You want to have a humanized feel to it, or whatever the case may be, unless you have some type of latency that you're doing with your MIDI controller and your interface and the DAW. Then you may have to tighten it up a little bit. But I always highly recommend that you solo all of your rhythm and maybe choose an important sound that's in your beat. I'm gonna go ahead and choose this synth sound here. And you want to check and make sure that everything is on time, especially your salt and your pepper, or even your seasoning, which means like your overheads, acoustic overheads, or acoustic hi-hats and stuff like that, if you were using those. All right, so we're going to go ahead and solo this and see if the timing is right. Sounds good to me. Now this is where it really gets fun. We go back to the rack window here. We can go ahead and add effects to this, and you can get really creative. You could be really simple with it, but we're gonna keep it simple for the sake of this video. And we're just gonna pull up the Ripley space delay here, and I'm just randomly gonna choose like a preset here. Let's see here. We're gonna do drum interest injector. Let's go ahead and choose that and see what we getting here. We're gonna go ahead and solo that track with the salt and the pepper on it for us, this 727, and see what we got. And sometimes you just you gonna hit, you gonna miss, definitely gonna miss or whatnot. Let me actually choose something else. I don't like I like the Ripley, but I don't like the Ripley. But let's go ahead and go here and let's add this right here. This is a simple reason extension here, and we're just gonna add some reverb here. It's very simple, man. Yeah, we add some reverb. All right, let's play that back one more time. Shorten up that decay a little bit, and just something simple like that. The next thing we could probably add to it, let's see here. Let's go ahead and try to compress it, so everything can be even out. One more time. All right, cool. Just something simple like that, man. And this is a fire reason extension right here. It's from SKP Sound Design, and it's called the Quad Multi Effector. You can pick this up off the Reason shop, just a FYI. But you know, once you got that kind of dialed in, then you can go ahead and play it with your other drums here. And actually, let's go back to the sequencer here. All right. And let me see here. Let me get my life right. Solo this, solo that, and solo this. Let me give it a little bit more reverb. Cool. And if you're satisfied with that, you can go ahead, bring everything back in, and let's see how it sounds. Cool. So it sounds really good. Turned it down a little bit on the mixer channel and everything like that, and added a little bit of reverb. The compression, what the compression does, especially with percussion or overheads or acoustic hi-hats and stuff like that, when you add compression to those sounds, it just squeezes it in and it keeps a consistent level for as dynamics is concerned, because with those type of instruments, if you're not hitting at the same velocity, you're gonna hear a major difference in volume if you're not hitting or playing at the same velocity. So compression on percussion, acoustic hi-hat, acoustic overheads is a must. Not too much for as programmed drum sounds, but definitely acoustic sounds, or a VST that has acoustic sounds. You want to add compression to that. All right. So what we're going to do now is just go ahead and just duplicate that all across the globe right there. And let's go ahead and kind of do a quick beat breakdown of what we got. So I kind of showed you guys the drums that we're using right here. This first sound that we got here, I'm using the Arturia CS80V VST instrument, and just kind of like utilizing it for chords. I'm in the key of A and using the Mixolydian scale, and I just kind of did a little funky situation here. There's some simple scale stuff right here. All right, and then we put that all back together, and I'm gonna go ahead and mute all of these sounds that we don't get confused there. All right, cool deal. The next sound that I used was it's kind of like a flute sound, just to kind of give it a little bit of sweetener on the beat. The BST I pulled up was this from I think this is from Tonsil or whatnot, and this is called Motronic. You can get this VST off of producersources.com or producersounds.com, if I'm not mistaken. I'll make sure I add that link right here on the video or whatnot. But I chose a flute kind of woodwind type of sound. It's called Futura, and shorten up the attack and the release time to have it a little bit more in rhythm with the beat itself, because it was a little bit legato, but I kind of shortened up the attack and the release time, and when you solo that, this is how it sounds. All right, cool. And you bring that together with everything else. All right, cool. Got it panned a little bit to the left, just to give it a little bit of, yeah. All right, the next thing we used was the sample tank, and what I did was I basically went in my bag, and I like adding guitars to my beats. That's what I'm on right now, and just to kind of give it a little bit more rhythm and not allow the tempo to seem like it was dragging. So some syncopated type of playing here with the guitar. I just picked one that sounded great, sounded good or whatnot. The preset that I use is called Bridge Show, and this is the built-in effects that it had: overdrive, channel strip, 76 compressor, and some reverb. And what I'm gonna do is go ahead and mute, or should I say, turn off the effect that I have on it. And this is the guitar sound by itself. And it's going to play that same lick right there. What I did to kind of make the guitar sound a little bit more authentic is that I used this plugin called Amp Locker. This is from Audio Assault. It's a company out of Mexico, and they make VSTs. I'm kind of intrigued that Mexico, they making VSTs. So, but they really have some good guitar modeling software, and what I used was this particular amp here, and had a nice sound to it. Kind of increased the gain coming into the amp, and chose this particular circuit. And what I did was went to the cab section, and this particular VST utilized this cab modeling technology, and they call it 3D cab modeling. I'm not exactly sure how they do it, but it sounds really good. And I have this cab expansion pack, and it's called Smoker. And I chose this one because it sounded good with the guitar sound. And you got these different microphones that you can choose, and this is a part of the 3D modeling technology that they have that's built inside of Amp Locker VST. And you can choose these different microphones to virtually mic your cab. So if you see this microphone, just imagine this microphone is on a mic stand and it's positioned a certain way. If you ever position guitars and stuff like that, it's a really, really cool technique. And it really makes you hear to get a certain sound from whatever you're playing. And it could be a keyboard sound. It could be guitar, or that will be probably the two main instruments that will go through a cab miking type of situation. But you can move this mic like this here and get the sound that you want. It's really, really cool, and it moves in real time. I'm gonna place this back how I had it here, but by default the mic was up here at the top left corner of the speaker here, right at about like the 10 o'clock position. And what I did was just moved it, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? You can adjust the distance and give it kind of a little bit more distance, a little bit more room sound, do some high pass, low pass filtering, pan, and also this impact stuff that kind of gives you a mimic of the cab playing in whatever room that you want. But I just kind of left it standard miking as if it was in a studio, and turned off the reverb and delay here because I already have reverb sound going through this process here. Gain match, and when you put everything together, this is the sound that you get. All right, cool. Then you put everything together, and this is what you got. All right, cool. Now you hadn't heard the bass sound yet because this is when I added the bass sound, and I'm going in the order I added the VST. So everything that we've been pulling up, this is how I was adding them and building the beat. Okay. So now this is the bass. All right. And I used this basically a simple rumpler from True Soul Vibes, and this is called Vibe VST. I love the sounds in here. They're really, really awesome. I just chose a bass patch, and that bass patch was the baton bass, and you know what I'm saying, it sounded real good. It just matched the vibe. I'm gonna let you hear that bass sound. Okay, cool. Now, I want you guys to notice a difference here. All right, I'm going to make a change here. All right, listen really, really closely. So if you have some headphones or you're on good speakers, listen very, very closely. All right, I'm going to play it again. All right, cool. So I wanted you to listen real closely. If you could hear, you probably can't hear on the YouTube, sound waves or whatnot. But basically, what I did was in Reason, right next to your pan knob, you have this knob, and it's called Width. And what this does is it kind of takes your stereo sound source, and you can shrink it and make it mono, or you can kind of creep in a little bit of stereo separation on your stereo sound, but you can shape how wide you want your stereo source. This particular VST is a stereo VST. So when I use bass sounds, and I recommend that you would do this too, when you use bass sounds, make them mono or a tiny bit of stereo width if that's what you want or whatnot. And the reason for that is so you can start creating a little bit of depth and also separation in your instruments. And also you take that bass sound and you just kind of put it right there in the middle, so it could be the foundation of your mix and also the foundation of your sounds and how they sit in the stereo mix or whatever the case may be. And I do this for all my bass sounds, all my bass frequency. I center them at a certain point in the crossover when I'm mixing and stuff like that. But in this case, while we're producing, if I have the chance and I got the tools to make my bass sound mono, that's what I do. The only time I make bass sounds stereo if I'm basically doing a high pass cut, and I'm using the bass sound as an effect to layer another sound. So what I mean by that is like if I'm using a synth lead sound and I need to have something heavy underneath that thin synth sound, I would use a like a synth bass high pass filter and then kind of creep it right underneath the sound and stuff like that to give it a little bit more fullness and some girth to the sound or whatever the case may be. But if it's like 808s, kicks, a bass sound this low, we definitely gonna try to center it up the best way we can. All right, we put all of that together and this is what we got. All right, so this is where I'm gonna spread the sound. We're gonna go back to stereo. Listen real closely. We're gonna go back to mono. Now we're gonna go back to stereo. So the mix doesn't have a defined center of listening. So what that means is it's like if you were to play this beat back on a mono monitoring system, or let's say for instance a speaker that you bought off of Amazon and it's a Bluetooth speaker, or you're in your car and you got one busted speaker whatnot, that bass is not going to translate as much as it would if it was in mono, because the stereo bass, it's meant to be left and right, and everything else frequency wise from that stereo bass is going to try to fill in the middle. So what you're doing is when you compensate the bass sound and make it centered frequency or make it mono, basically your foundation of your composition, your beat, or whatever you want to call it, the foundation is already going to be centered, and everything else is going to be stereo. That way, when you play it back on a one speaker system, or something that has, a very, 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 very narrow stereo spread, everything will sound cohesive and you'll have that foundation and your mix will sound more centered, focus, for as how it needs to sound for as separation with all your instruments and stuff like that. So hopefully that makes sense, and I don't mean to just kind of blabber over that, but that's something real important I kind of wanted to point out there. The next thing that I added here is the Prophet VST here, and this is from Arturia. And I use this particular VST to add like ear candy to my beats, very bright sounds. And I like the bell sounds in this particular VST. And what we did was just kind of did a little sprinkle of sound here. And I'm going to play that for you guys. And again, this beat is not mixed, so all my creative juices is not on here. But once you play it in the beat, all right, cool deal. And what we did was next is add like a pad sound to this, something that can float underneath the beat, and give it a real nice atmospheric sound, and something that you can really kind of get in tune with the composition. I went with the built-in synthesizer from Reason called Europa, and I use a Reason refill from DNA Sound Labs, and this comes from the refill called Europa Climax refill. Just chose a pad sound that sounded really, really cool. I played it a high octave and I played it a low octave just to give it some body. And this is what we got here. And you see how it just floats, and you put that together. All right, cool deal. And last but not least, I added another guitar in here to kind of give it more of a lead type of sound and more of a melody focus type of sound. They really kind of separate verse from chorus or hook. Okay. And we used the UBI workstation, and the library we used was called Strategy. And this is basically a Stratocaster guitar. And UBI workstation is kind of like a Contact, but made by UBI. But we used a Stratocaster guitar here, and I turned off the bridge pickup and turned off the neck pickup, and I used the middle pickup to get the sound that I wanted here. And if I can get to the sound here, and I'm gonna turn that effect off. Turn on the bridge. All right, you turn on the neck. And we got the middle right there. All right. So you can get different guitar tones like you would playing a really real guitar or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Pickups, you could choose to pick up on a guitar and stuff like that. So that's what we did here. The next thing we did was we added another guitar modeling amp type of software plugin. But this is from Polychrome DSP, and this is called Lumos. Really nice. Simple layout for, you know, adding a real guitar tone to your virtual guitars. What we did, I just chose a lead type of preset here, and you know, saying adjusted a couple of things here on the comp. Didn't make any changes here, but we do have a little bit of overdrive here. We do have a cab. Didn't do anything there. I did bring down the gain going into this amp because it was a little bit of crunchy that I don't like. We got some EQ going on here, and then we're using a spring reverb. I increased the amount on the spring reverb just to give it a little bit more dreaminess. So, all right, and it was sitting about right here. So I just increased that reverb about right here. All right, cool deal. And solo that, and this is what it sounded like. All right, cool. So just to kind of, you know, give it a little bit of separation. And if I was to play that for you, you're going to hear how the guitar part is there in the hook. But then when we go right here in the verse part, this little empty area right here, you're going to hear the difference, arrangement and stuff like that. All right. We just kind of let it rock out just like that, man. So yeah, that is it, man. That is it. That's the beat breakdown. Hopefully you guys you know what I'm saying, like what I was talking about with the beat breakdown and everything like that. I was told, you know what I'm saying, somebody wanted some recent videos, so here you are and stuff like that. I get a little bit more in depth and everything like that. I'm still trying to get my Mac system set up and everything, but again, this was a beat breakdown on how you can add a little bit of seasoning on top of your beat, and then, you know what I'm saying, doing a little small beat breakdown on what I did in this particular composition, man. Hey, if you like this video, man, go ahead and hit a like on this video. Also subscribe to this channel for more content like this. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? Stay creative out there, man. This has been your boy Super Mario, man. Catch y'all on the flip side. Yellow.